I'm Shelton Wilder, and welcome to Wilder Possibilities Podcast, where each episode follows an entrepreneur's journey into the transformative power of that light bulb moment where everything clicks. I call that the click. Those pivotal points that redefine our futures, illuminate paths to success, and even change the world. Now let's get wilder. Hi friends, welcome to another episode of Wilder Possibilities. Today I have a special guest, one of my favorite people, Buster McCoy, and he is, I would just say, the most famous tennis pro in all of LA. I believe it. And he owns Buster Pro Shop. Yep. And so we're just going to talk to him today. He's so many stories and so much fun. So thanks, Buster.
You're welcome, I think.
No, this is going to be good. Okay, so on the episode, I always ask everybody, like, when did you get the click? Like, when did you decide you were going to be the most famous tennis pro in all of LA? But how did it start?
So I came out with the idea of finishing my last year of law school in LA.
Oh, okay. Where'd you live before that?
I was in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I was in law school in Detroit at the time. And for the benefit of society, I came out here and didn't become an attorney, which would have been a disaster for a lot of people. I came out here to run the LA Marathon, and it was shortly after the riots, and I had an idea of LA as being horrible. But I got here, my friend was living on the west side, and it was gorgeous. I didn't realize how beautiful Los Angeles was and how unbelievable. I'd never been out west.
Yeah, and the weather.
And I was like, I'm just moving. I got my stuff, got in with the idea of like, I'll figure a way I'll, end up at Southwestern. I'll figure it out. And I just basically got my stuff together, moved out. And tennis was a small world that I was involved in college and stuff played. And
did you play in college?
Played in college at a small school in South Lander and then University of South Carolina.
Okay.
And then was still playing tournaments, usually losing, but that's okay. And got out here, and I had a connection at Riviera Country Club.
The best, I mean.
Which was a gift. I didn't realize how great it was. And then I had this opportunity to teach there.
Yeah.
And it's a fluke that I was able to fall into this great, and that was like, this was a gift. You mean you could make a lot of money playing tennis.
Yeah.
Fantastic climate.
I mean, and the club is it's gorgeous. Yeah.
And I just was at the right place to recognize the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I could play tennis. And I thought, I'll go back I'll do it for a year and a year, 2 years. And fine. And so, that's what I did. And my wife was in a high stress sales position, placing consultants for Nissan and Warner Brothers.
Oh, wow.
And then I had the dream job, like I teach tennis in the morning. They used to play 9 holes at Riviera, go back and teach them. It just was hated me for that, which I get. Like, I lived this great life, and I still do to that extent. And then that was kind of the aha.
Yeah.
Just, I still do that. That's what I do. I teach tennis most of the time, but Los Angeles was in a need of another tennis shop that covered clothes and stuff. My clients could no longer get tennis wear, even at Riviera. We just couldn't.
Yeah, and this was before Amazon, everybody.
Well, it was before even the Amazon really.
Yeah.
There was tennis places like, not even tennis warehouse would start, but like Hollywood, people tried to do so. Some of the clubs still had requirements that you had to wear collared shirts or white.
Oh, or whites. Oh, okay.
Whites.
Yeah.
It was tough to find. And there was a great tennis shop on the west side, Westwood Sports, but as traffic became tough in LA, the 405 was a dividing line. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing on the west side.
West of the 405.
And my wife had just been just retired from her position and wanted to do something. And so I said, we tried a clothing line, and she's like, we have to have a store to sell the clothes.
Yeah.
So we just opened a tennis shop for the idea, okay, it'd be fun and cute and do it. And then it just blew up. It became so busy because it was we just have a select clientele we were servicing. I knew a lot of people. I really do nothing. My wife, I had this great idea and then pushed it all to my wife.
Well, she's done an incredible job. Yeah, she
runs it. We've had it for 16 years in Brentwood.
Okay, so the first Buster Pro was 16 years ago.
Correct. We had a small store on 20 Wilshire and 25th. That is now a pickleball.
Oh, I see that. Yeah, that's the pickleball.
We just moved it more because basically the women in LA didn't want that. Driving to Wilshire was too far.
Oh my God. It's so true. Guys, if you're not from LA and you're hearing this podcast, you might be like, what is he saying? It's literally people want to stay in a very tight area.
It's a zone, so it's a zone, and a friend of mine owns that building, and it just was where I am now, and we moved in. I guess we 15 and a half or 16 years we've been there.
And it's on the corner of San Vicente.
San Vicente at the plaza, where there was Chin Chin, a long time restaurant. The Scala was in there. We're across from Whole Foods, so we've been there, a long time.
Yeah.
And we're just finishing where large investors come in right now, taking over the day-to-day operations, and wants to grow and to expand Buster Pro to 20 stores.
Yeah.
Ray is taking over as of Monday.
I mean, this is in real time.
In real time. So Monday, I mean, it's not like it's, big investor basically buying out all the day-to-day and he's making the decision.
Yeah.
We are very actively involved in the
Yeah,
stores.
yeah.
So we're, I should say, more like employees of the stores. But the idea is to grow. We can't grow the store if we're working at 20 hours. My wife working it in all the time. You can't grow. If you're an employee, you have to have somebody come in with the ability to do that.
Yeah.
I teach tennis. That's what I do. I mean, I'm not very good at much else. So
but you teach like 62.
I book like for the fall, I'm free booked right now at 58 hours a week. If I didn't, I start. So if I don't, so right now my schedule has 58 hours on the book Monday through Sunday, and then people drop out and fill in. So it's a lot.
It's a lot because guys, so I train with Buster. I see him once a week.
That's the only reason I'm on this.
And this is why he's here, because I was like, you have to come on my podcast. But so I train with him once a week. Didn't I take Harrison Ford's spot?
Well, you were after him. He used to be just 7 a.m.s across.
Okay, 7 a.m. I'm 8 a.m. And then my son Lane takes with him. Yeah. And so, but when he, these lessons, he's not just sitting on the side. He's playing the whole time.
No, I'm not. I try and make a lesson for me fun for me. It's really not about that. I want to get them good enough so we can.
It's actually has nothing to do with me.
I get them to a point where they can rally and they're like, I'm pretty happy with that. I just want to run around. I'm like a Labrador. I just like to chase the ball.
He just wants to run around. Okay. He's trying to make me better so that we can play more.
Yeah, just play. I don't.
Play more points.
I have some groups that a lot of people like doing the groups. I have a few that are fun groups that we do.
Like live ball.
I love the little kids because the 5, I don't love it, actually, I should say, but I like having to earn it. Like you get a 4 or 5-year-old, there's no, they have no respect for you. You got to make something fun that their parents made them come to. So you have to earn it. So if you get somebody under the age of 7, they're still in school, you got to make them like a sport. To make a kid like something that's a lifetime sport, not even trying to make them pros, just like a sport. And it's just in their brain. If you're a kid and you're 4 or 5 years old, pick it up, they play for it, they think they got it. They think they're basically, they know it. And in their head, when they have it later in life, they might come back or something, just make it a fun experience. So I like that a little bit, like having kids, I like the spectrum. I have an 88-year-old lesson, I've got 3-year-old lessons. So I go from that broad.
That's so broad. Wow.
Kids that will play college tennis, that kids in high school, and adults of all. I don't really want to lock in. I realized a long time ago it's a bad business model to focus on one.
No, you just want to, it's just tennis.
And if a kid's really good, that's going to be a top level. That's not my wheelhouse. I'll pass him on to pros that really like that. And frankly, I'm 57 years old. I shouldn't be running around with the person that is abusing me. So, which is I get the person and the right person that's focused for that. I would get them to, if I get them to that level, that's great. It's a win.
So, with Lane, he's come so far. So I'm really proud of him because he likes it, because he likes you.
Yeah, it's about you build a relationship, and there's hopefully it goes and you make it, and it becomes part of their life. Like I look at tennis as like you take skiing, go out for vacation, and you're good, but you don't go your first ski lesson to think I'm going to win the Olympics.
No,
burn. But tennis sometimes you'll get the parent like, so how good is he? Do you think he's got potential?
No,
when they're 9, I'm like, not happening. A lot of parents their kids are playing tournaments, and they'll ask me, and I said, is he watching tennis on TV? Is he dressing like his favorite tennis pro? Are they doing these things? And they say no. It's like, it's not going to happen because they don't love it. They got to.
They're not obsessed.
Yeah, there's kids who are obviously people way better. I was that kid. Like I wanted to trust the heroes of my time and stuff like that. And what were they wearing? And I read the tennis magazines at a tournament and knew about all the players around that level if you just got into it. And there are the kids that do this. I have that, and they're all in. The hard thing is if you get to a point where the balance shifts, like now college tennis, that takes too much time for what it's worth. Like if it's 30 hours a week of practice, then that takes, you're taking away from your studies. Like you can't be a biology or a science major if you got traveling for tournaments. You have to be there for labs. So you're now limited in your course selection, what you're going to study, and you don't really benefit the college experience because you're not getting this. If you want to stretch out college for 5 years, you could.
Yeah.
But it's tough for tennis. I'm just saying it's great, but maybe they're asking a lot of hours for these kids.
Oh, for the kid. Oh, wow.
And you've got to, a lot of these kids, that's what they do. You go to school, they become teachers and tennis pros because that's where they felt the most confidence.
Oh,
they come back to me like, well, I was doing this, and they come back to tennis because you go out in the real world, and you have a boss, they might not be nice, or it's hard. And then tennis, you're a top level player, you always hear, oh, you're so good at this, you're so good.
Yeah.
And you feel that. That's why I like the tennis court. I was basically incapable of being employed by anybody. So unemployable. So I am my own little boss.
Yeah.
On the court, which I like.
Well, you are, and you're very good at organizing it too. I mean, I feel like that's a wild schedule to keep.
Just keep. Well, just like a puzzle. You put the week together and you start setting it up. And then you have the people, and we live in an area that the people can afford just a standing lesson.
Yeah, that's what we've been tried to do, the standing lesson.
And a place house in the country that's very rare where people just book their lesson. Most people, they go, I'll have 5-6 lessons, and then they're done. They don't plan on that.
Oh, yeah.
Lesson. So I've had a lesson with a man from the age of, we started with him, he was 67 to 97. He passed away.
But for 30
not my
years.
fault, though.
No, you didn't take him out on a...
But he was a standing lesson of mine for, over 30 years.
Wow.
For Tuesday and Thursday. And so, and then, these other people that I've had that just kind of like that's still part of their workout. Yeah, the people have the trainers on the side, kind of the tennis trainer.
Yeah, that's how I kind of see it. And I want to be better, but I'm not trying to win the club championship. I just want to.
Tennis is unique is that when you work out, sometimes you get in your own head. If you work at a trainer or on a treadmill, you kind of start thinking about the day. And it can kind of stress people out. Where my clients, when they come to tennis, all they're thinking about is tennis because you got to watch the ball, you got to think.
Yeah,
it keeps them out of their world.
I like that,
and I can kind of tell when it's getting to the end of the lesson. Sometimes the people are they start thinking about their work. They got 5 minutes left, and they.
Or if you see me, I'm checking the phone during it, I have stuff going. Yeah,
so they get in, but it gives them a little escape. Even we touch on things, work on things, but in general, it's hard in a place like Los Angeles. Once you hit that car, it's boom, you're in it. Traffic's bad.
Yeah. And
it gives these people a little escape from their lives. So that's what the tennis benefit is. And it's different than, people ask pickleball. Pickleball is a frenetic game. It's quick and it's great. People it's a game where you're always competing. It's not really rallying. Tennis, you can go out and work out and rally.
Yeah.
It's you can this zen going back and just hitting the ball and the court coverage. I just find that the people.
Well, I like it for the running. Yeah, I like it that it's,
I'm not knocking the pickleball. I play it and stuff. It's just, that's more of a competing. You're playing, you're getting out, and people like to compete. They just like that. And it's easy that the learning curve's faster. You can be competing right away.
Oh, yeah. But there's so much more injuries, I feel like, in pickle.
A lot of it is because they haven't stopped playing sports in a while. They go out in their hookah or their wrong equipment. And it's very quick moves, so you roll ankles.
Yeah, quick moves with your knees. And
so if you haven't done a sport in a while, I would say, and it's addictive, they start playing, they play a little too much, and tennis players don't get it as much because they have better technique naturally, but they're doing funky shots, and you start playing, things will get hurt. So, yeah, and it's a smaller space, so you do a quick movement, you bump into it's usually doubles, people run into each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they whack each other with a racket or something.
Oh.
You're not really getting hit. It's a wiffle ball, so you're not really getting nailed by a wiffle ball and permanent injury.
No.
I mean, it's just the nice thing about it is you can create people that are great athletes that really haven't played racket sports and bring them together. But it's actually been good for tennis because a lot of younger people that would have never drifted toward tennis, they played softball, they played basketball, they started playing pickleball, and they would have never thought about a racket sport. But when you're 25 to 30, you might not want to make your group of people 65-year-old guys and women. I want to play with other young guys. They see Carlos Alcaraz playing tennis.
Oh, love.
So we're getting people that would drifting to tennis after they play pickleball. It's not that they're giving up, they're picking it up. And people that, or maybe tennis is the coverage or they can't compete, they drift to pickleball, but they'll still play tennis. They'll hit. They just won't compete at it. So it's just racket sports.
Well, it's. I mean, all the racket sports have just gone crazy.
Yeah, Padel is a sport coming hard, fast here, which is gigantic in Europe, and it's coming fast. Padel is basically, if you could think of racquetball with a net in the middle. It's more complex than that, but it's a great.
Are you going to be doing that? What do you think?
I mean, there's really mostly in Pilot. I think there's 16 private homes that have courts, and there's one club, definitely in Hollywood, and another one that's got a few courts. But it's picking up. It'll take about 5 years. It'll be.
But it'll be the next,
like the country club sport. It'll be like people. That'll be because each court costs $60,000 to build. It's a little bit bigger than a pickleball court, so it's not as accessible.
But is it like paddle that's at the Jonathan Club? Because that's everybody keeps asking me that.
No,
it's like Padel
off the walls. So paddle.
Padel is still it's off the walls. Racquetball at the net.
Like racquetball, it clears the net. You keep tennis scoring. Same scoring, but when it bounces, then it can hit the back wall and you can play it off it. So it's got that racquetball feel, but you also don't overpower the ball because if you hit it too hard, it comes back towards the net and it just causes these angles. It's a very thinking game. Your brain is on fire. And the serving is as hard to learn as like tennis. It's an underhand serve, so it's not like tennis. It's an underhand serve, so that's nice about that. People like that.
Well, I saw, because obviously I'm in real estate, and I saw that was like this huge thing at this new building in New York. Yeah. There's this exclusive building that there's only 24 units, but they have this special Padel court. Yeah. And it was like people wanted to buy there just so they could play with their neighbors. Because you could only play with your I mean, it was
it's with
just amazing
usually
place.
Does 99%. The game in Sweden, which is the size of Southern California population-wise, has 120 Padel clubs. So
clubs?
Just clubs.
Oh my God!
That's how big it's. Now that's because the climate's there is horrific in the winter. That's what they do. So they drift to tennis in the summer. But that's an enormous amount. It's of clubs that are dedicated to this sport. So they even said it was an overgrowth there, but there's still so many. The club might be just 4 courts there, but there's 16 people constantly playing it. It's very.
It's just gotten so popular.
It's just popular. They like the social aspect of it too. It's social.
More social, yeah. Well, okay, so you sold Buster Pro, which is kind of insane, and you said that they want to open up 20.
We'd like to. We're going to definitely, in Hermosa Beach, he already has a small store there.
Okay, so
that'll be flipping to kickstart slowly, and we'll probably emphasize beach tennis there, because each store will kind of go towards whatever
the area
is, more intense. So that store, I'll probably run a beach tennis tournament there at some point.
Oh, that's smart.
And get the people involved. It's a smaller state. That's only like 700 square feet or something. It's smaller. But just to cater to that, and the next, probably Palm Springs.
You said Palm Springs, and then even you said in Miami, maybe
any
Palm
big
Beach.
Cities. You want to go to bigger cities.
I
mean, that would be ideal. But let's see, get these two, make our mistakes locally, and learn the business.
And learn it,
You start maybe 3 is just enough. We don't know. The idea is to grow it because we feel you go to a Big Five or a Dick's Sporting Goods, you're not getting a knowledgeable person in all the rackets. We're specializing in, and we'll improve. We should be improving on that. We just want to know, our people know how to string. They want to know the specialty.
So this is your big thing that you said that I didn't even know. How many rackets at Buster Pro are you guys stringing a day? This was
about 30 a day. Is probably what we do. And there's the other guys doing, the other main guys probably doing 90 a day. And that's it. So tennis is a service industry. Like you got to change the grips, rackets, change head guards. The other sports like Padel, Pickleball, is re-gripping those rackets, break down. So you're constantly updating. So these are service sports. So that's to an area. Some of the problems these other areas which hurt tennis is you got to go to a private club to get it strong. It becomes a pain. So a tennis shop will actually help promote tennis in these areas. Because we get the court, people start playing, we can push local pros or clubs so they're a necessity. And when they're not there and everybody's going from Amazon, they have no local flavor.
Well, you'll order stuff and you'd be like, okay, I got a racket off of Amazon, but my racket was the wrong string. The strings were wrong for a while. And you had to fix my strings.
When you get into it and you're very good, you'll talk about even the weather, humidity, and how the level you play. If the stringing's everything, when you get, the better you get, and you need to change the strings. And so we send out reminders, and that's the part of growing this, so we can eventually get to a point where somebody will come in. We'll, like golf places, or have they test your swing speed. So we'd like to get to a point where, hey, the person comes in, we test them for the racket, and we know, hey, this is actually more appropriate for you. Are you playing singles, doubles, or are you just rallying? Which your point, so we can fit them with the right racket.
Oh, yeah.
That's some people just like buying rackets like they like buying clothes. Like, oh, it's fun, give me this, and which is fine. But we want to, so they don't get, most of the arm problems can be solved with the correct string.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. Yeah.
And the right racket.
Yeah.
Our job is not, our clients not to get injured so they can continue playing.
Of course.
They have a small shop. They're able to say, oh, this guy's doing a small camp, and that's how we grow the sport. So in these areas, that's what we find, that there needs to be smaller shops, retail, that can service the community. And there's not a lot of retail stores, but if you have a market, like a fishing store that's higher end or this, and we're going to deal hopefully with clients that don't mind spending, they're going to say, we match actually the same prices as the store for the racks. We charge for the stringing. A lot of times you get free stringing. In theory, free stringing, just getting usually a junkier string. But it's also but people don't realize when you get a racket flown to you, and it's not in a cabin that's pressurized, it affects the stringing. So it's flown, and then the pressure changes the racket string. Like I
didn't even know that.
You don't really have no recourse. This string is strung in some warehouse by a bunch of people. It might be on or off. There's no like, oh, I'm going to send it back again. The nice thing about it was string shop. We might screw up. We do. They bring it back. It's not working for me. We'll restring it.
So, but it's a service. It's more of a service business.
Yeah, than just talk to you. Like, oh, I need a little more power. I need a little more control. We can talk to them so that while that business will always be there. So if you have a ski shop, these conditions are you be using this kind of wax, this, and our buyer owns the ski shop up in Mammoth that does most.
Okay, so he found you by
we had a broker in that, and he found us. He wants this world. He understands the sporting world and far and down that, and just catering to that area. So
well, it's growing like crazy. I mean, I'm so glad. It's just been 2 years I got back into it. It's been my favorite. I've never had a hobby until this. It just
gives people a chance to go.
Yeah,
not going away.
No, it's growing like crazy. Okay, so who would you say your favorite? Who's your favorite all-time tennis player?
It kind of goes by eras, because I grew up liking, Borg, because he was cool.
Of course, he was so cool.
It goes by eras of like who I like, and it's not like I have mad respect for, I've gotten lucky enough to meet all these guys because I'm at Riviera. So
I know they all come. That's why I got to see Carlos Alcaraz. Carlito was hitting, and I just was like, oh my God, I didn't know who he was at first.
Yeah, so yeah.
And then now he's my favorite.
It's such a unique place that there's an old-time pro, Pancho Gonzalez, who was considered one of the great players from the 60s and late 50s. And when he passed away, they had a kind of a tournament, and every living Grand Slam champion was there except for Borg.
Oh my God.
But so, you get to see all these guys and get to kid with players that, Rod Laver. And for me, that at the time, I didn't really even appreciate it. I was 27 years old. Like, I'm hitting with a guy that at the time he was, let's say, 48 or 50. Like, I got to hit with this guy. I appreciate it, but then I realized the guy doesn't miss, and he's wildly better than me at 47 and I'm 27 or whatever it was at the time. So it's just a unique place where the best will show up. So Federer's been there. Nadal hasn't. Djokovic had been there once, but they all eventually drift through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just at a certain age, they all come through. Either to play the golf course or whatever. They're there.
Yeah, just be there. So would you say, who's your recent favorite?
I mean, I think Federer did a lot, in my opinion, did a lot for the game.
He's just such a class act.
Just not, like, I so respect the other players. It was kind of, with Agassi, it was a brashness and macro. But he just made it, like, different, brought in just a calmness at that time. Sophisticated. And not to the other players, he was a good transition of sportsmanship.
Yes, yeah, that's
what it just felt like. All right, we're going back to, and then it goes through a wave. Now we get a little more brash, but we, Alcaraz and the Yannick Sinner right now is going to be a great player. He's been injured but those two are going to battle.
They're going to battle. They're going to be like Federer and Nadal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless something happens, and maybe somebody else will jump in there. And Djokovic obviously is still active and hanging on, and just won the Olympics. But I mean, these guys are like 21 years old. That's different than.
I know, and he's like 39 or
37.
Okay.
38.
Yeah. So fit though. I mean, he just
So he's probably pick up another Grand Slam, maybe two.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
So those are some of your, okay. So you're just into it. I mean, we have tennis on 24/7 at our house.
I'm all in.
Yeah. That's
Again, not good at many other things. So
you're like, okay, you're going to be in. I know. So, and then, so you have do you feel excited that you sold the business? I mean, how do you and your wife feel?
Originally, my feeling was when I was going to get at that. My wife said, "You don't have a plan B. You got to what are you going to do when you get older?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, in my back of my head, it's like, well, I'll just be in the tennis shop, retired, stringing rackets, and just hanging out. And I tried, when I was in there, I originally said we have to be open on Sundays, and the reason I did it on Sundays was it'll be slow, and I'll go in there and I'll just watch football. Nobody will bother me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'll be there. And then people started coming in and buying, and for first it was fine, and then it was crazy. It was just me in the shop. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah,
I can't handle
this is too.
First, what do you mean? You're out? I can't handle work. So I just want to watch football. If you up and then it causes chaos. Of Sunday, we're open a lot. We're open to 11 to 4. I keep it shorter hours, but that became a busy day. People drop off their rackets from the weekend or need stringing. Can't get there during the weekday. So that's kind of an intense 5 hours or so. But people usually are waiting.
But you're still teaching Sundays, which is insane.
No, now I don't go in the store at all.
No, but you're teaching.
I teach Sundays.
Yeah, you're 7.
It's my buddies. I'm hanging out.
You're 7 days a week.
Yeah, but I'm just teaching the people I like.
So that's the thing that we're talking. I work every day too, but I love what I do, so it doesn't feel hard.
I guess when people say "Oh, you're overworking," I live through my work now. I bet sometimes that the Europeans, don't work to live or whatever it is. They don't work so hard to live. They live and then
do a little work. No,
I live through my work. I enjoy and meet people. I talk and have an experience. So I live through my work, and that's a positive. I don't look at it as a negative. That's a positive. I live through my work. If I hated my job, that's one thing in grind. But I'm meeting people that I like and working with people. So I live through my work. It's not a burden.
No, I feel the exact same way because people always want to tell me how to do things. Yeah. You should shut your phone off. You should do that. I'm like, no. What do you mean?
Yeah, I just enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
If I was miserable in my job and I needed to shut down, I'm just lucky in that what I do.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, and so tell us, because you've told me some stories before about how you train certain people for movies.
Well, it's more about trying to. Be asked.
Tell us some of the money, some of the movies.
Well, I guess the first one I'd worked on, I worked on a Tom Ford movie a long time ago. I'm blanking on the title, which is horrible. But he just asked me, we just set the scenes, and he helped me coordinate to get the players to play in period with wooden rackets and make younger guys hit contemporary strokes and slow it down. We got to play like that, which I did play with wooden rackets because 57 years old, so I played with wooden rackets to get these guys to help. It was 2 days, and then I just started working on more to get actors. But really, you can't teach an actor right away how to do. You hopefully get them to, they can mimic a swing. They can always digitally put a ball in, or you can do a close-up tight. Now, some players can play, but working on the Williams movie, King Richard.
That was King Richard. That was the one.
Richard. So mainly my job was with Will Smith for the 5 weeks. The nice thing about that is, you didn't have to make Richard Williams look like he was great. The beauty of him is that he wasn't a sophisticated player. He came out and fed balls different. He would look different. He didn't look like a dad that was angry. So just kind of he fed different. So to teach them the way he fed and the way his mannerisms while teaching.
Okay.
And then during that movie, I'd be on the other side sometimes when the girls were hitting, but they had girls that were real players doing their doubles and doing pull-away shots.
Oh.
And the girls were good that they got in. But the one thing is, the one girl was a natural lefty, and they had to make her play righty.
Oh.
So she wasn't going to get the 4, but she was able to kind of get through for swings and be all right. So you got to work with each one. It's really an editing.
That's an editing, yeah.
It's really the editing. I think you just want to get them to strokes and then edit it and just.
Yeah, so you worked on that, and then you said there's another movie.
Well, there's one coming out. Ryan Murphy, the Menendez brothers.
That is good. I cannot wait for that.
Those guys were driven by their father hard in tennis, and I'm involved in the editing. I don't know what it's going to look like because it's different on that one. There's several directors. It's such a big project, so each one had a different way of wanting to do it. So, some just have them swing. I don't really care. Maybe we'll hit a few balls. They just wanted different takes, different looks.
So did you already film that one, or that's coming?
Done. It was finished in mid-June. I stopped in mid-May. They'd bring me in for a day or 2 days, and just when they had the cord.
Oh wow!
So
yeah, I think that's so interesting.
Yeah, it's good. It's interesting to see. If it promotes tennis, it promotes the sport. So, the girls challengers that came out. So
wait, were you? I just watched that.
I wasn't part of that. In that movie, it doesn't really speak
Zendaya.
to me, but yeah, Zendaya is a lot of these young people that I teach between 22 and 30, because I taught, now they're out working. They wanted to come back to tennis after seeing the outfits and her playing. It wasn't so much that the movie's about that, but that triggered a memory for them. So those kind of movies actually will get a boom in the sport a little bit. Somebody goes out and they play and like, oh, I like playing tennis. I should get back and play.
Oh.
So that movie did that for sure. It got a lot of young people to kind of like maybe that used to play to get back into it. I don't know if it spurred, let's say, people starting tennis, but at least for me, people that saw it like, oh gosh, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, I loved it. I mean, I love anything tennis right now. I've gone so crazy.
You're deep.
I know. I don't know. I mean, I'm not like that great or anything, but
She's in the cult.
I love it. I know. I'm all in the cult. And so, so what are some of, like, you've had a lot of celebrity clients too.
Yeah, but it's part of like, I look at it as like if it's a mining town and I'm at the club there, I'm teaching the head of the mine or head of the union. So we're in an entertainment area.
Yes.
It's just that everybody happens, we're in this area. Like, so that's, if you're teaching for 30 plus years in the area, you're just running through that group because those are
the clientele. I mean, people always ask, who are your celebrity?
Yeah. Like, we probably have shared clients and stuff like that. So it's not like a big deal. It is in the sense that everybody knows them. Like, you can go to them, but it's not like a unique thing. Just area to tennis pros here, or golf pros, or personal trainers. If they've been in the area for a while, you're going to run. That's what happens.
Those are just part of the people.
That doesn't make me unique. I don't think they're so much seeking me out. I think it's just, oh, he's there. My friend, just referrals from a friend. Like, oh, this I took from, Buster. I enjoyed the lesson, or your kids will do well with them. That's more of it. It's not like, oh, you have to have him because he's so outstanding. Because there are all so many quality pros. So I don't think of myself as unique. I teach a lot because I like it, and I'm good at spreading out who I teach as far as young, old, middle, whatever. So
I guess the last question about where you teach, not just at the Riviera.
Because of my clients I've had for so long, some of them end up buying homes with courts and stuff like that.
Goals.
So I've been, during the pandemic, when the club was closed, I really relied at that to teach. And they liked it because I was teach there. And what happened is they preferred me coming to their house instead of going to just come over to the house. I'm like, well, I got to teach somebody else before then. Like, whatever, like, it's not going to get used. So that's what's really changed. So now I really am, I'm at private courts every day, usually 2 different private, and then the club. So I kind of mix it up with that.
Yeah.
Mostly members that just happen to have courts, but
well, they're so generous. They let you
use. Also helps. Like when I got there, sometimes it gets run down. It's not being used. Get the net changed. You got to get resurfaced, stuff like that. Balls are old. Regrip all the rackets. It kind of keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
If there's not being used, grandkids. Like if I'm there, like, oh, my grandkids will play or so. So it creates more. So if I'm there, it only started as maybe just to do an hour. Then it becomes, or a neighbor sees me walk out with.
That's what happened. Yeah, some of our friends.
Will be like, oh, can you teach it? So, and then that's where it's tough. You got to shut it down. Like, I can still know where I'm at, but I can't teach.
You have 60 lessons a week.
It's like it's just you're fried.
Yeah.
So
well,
I'll go. I sprint out of here, and I'll go from 10:30 until 8:30. Look, Katie, we're sitting out there.
Katie, yeah.
She's my last lesson, 7 p.m. tonight, so 7 to 8. So I'd finish up, pick up everything, and get home at like 8:45.
Yeah, you're staying out of trouble. You're just teaching all the time. Yeah, I love that. Well, Buster, thanks for coming on, and I hope you all learned a lot about tennis. Yeah, because I think it's the best sport out there. So.
It's great.
I do. Number one. Okay. Bye. I'm Shelton Wilder, and welcome to Wilder Possibilities Podcast, where each episode follows an entrepreneur's journey into the transformative power of that light bulb moment where everything clicks. I call that the click. Those pivotal points that redefine our futures illuminate paths to success, and even change the world. Now let's get wilder.